Alright, hi all and happy new year. It's been a minute, but I am back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Milan Emaj and I am a Fort Lauderdale based flight attendant reporting to you live right now from Baltimore, Maryland. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're old, welcome back. And as always, thank y'all so much for supporting me and a happy new year. It's crazy. One of my goals this year is to definitely be more diligent and consistent with my YouTube channel. And to kick that off, I thought it would be fitting to start over, essentially, with a video that is kind of similar to the first video that you'll see on my channel, which was called, I think, 10 Things I Hate About My Job as a Flight Attendant. This is essentially another version of that, but this time we'll get a little more personal and talk about some nitty-gritty things, the deeper things, and the things that you should personally consider because you know yourself best before diving into this field, because it is definitely a lifestyle change. I'm sure if you've watched other flight attendant videos or even some of mine, I've mentioned that in the past and others have too, that it is a change of lifestyle, not just career or not just job. And with that comes some differences and difficulties that may be deal breakers for some people. So that said, as I go through the top 10 things that I believe that you should consider before becoming a flight attendant, I want you to self-reflect a little bit. That's one of my 2022 goals, a little more self-reflection, a little more self-awareness, and I want you to do that as well, at least while you watch this video. Before we get started, leave a comment below. Let me know where you are in your flight attendant hiring process or your flight attendant journey, whether you are already a flight attendant or you're just looking up some information and doing some research right now, or you've done a couple interviews. Definitely let me know. And as you're watching, feel free, if you're comfortable, to leave a comment below with what item on my hit list actually triggers you. So maybe we can work it out together and figure out how to overcome those things. Anyway, that is all for the intro. Stay tuned. Okay, sorry, I know I said I was done with the intro and all, we were jumping straight into the video, but I just received a message from one of my subscribers and I want to read it to you all. Girl, I don't mean to keep bothering you, and she's not bothering me at all. She just asked for some insight prior to her going to training. I think she was going through the interview process at the time. She's currently in training, and ever since she started her process, she's kind of been chatting with me back and forth about the process with my airline and what to expect going into training and interviews and all of that. So anyway, she said, I don't mean to keep bothering you. I know you don't know me, but I just want to say thank you. I'm in my second week of training and I'm passing all my tests. I have my test on the A320 today. That's one of the aircrafts that we have, the mid-size aircraft that we have. And I feel very much confident. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your career and your life so that I can be encouraged. I almost cried because this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. If it wasn't for the flight attendant vlogger that I randomly came across when I was done with college, when I didn't want to continue school, when I didn't know what to do next, watching YouTube videos about something completely different, and I randomly came across a flight attendant YouTuber for, I don't even know her name or what airline she worked for, but I was like, that looks fun. And then I applied to my first airline, the regional carrier that I was with for a year. If it wasn't for those vloggers that I watch and I binge, if it wasn't for those ladies sharing their career fields, sharing their knowledge, sharing their day-to-day life as a flight attendant, if it wasn't for them just sharing their experience, I probably wouldn't be the flight attendant that I wouldn't be a flight attendant at all today if it wasn't for them. I wouldn't have even been introduced to the lifestyle to then apply and become a part of the lifestyle and then learn and be able to share my knowledge with y'all. And yeah, I don't know, messages like that, that's what I do it for. I know my channel is small and I don't have a huge platform to share all this knowledge on, but I just want y'all to know that I appreciate each and every one of you, everyone that has subscribed, everyone that comments or likes, every view that I get on this video or any other ones. I truly appreciate y'all. Don't ever feel like you're bothering me. If you have a question, if you have a concern, if you just want to talk, if you're stressed out in training or about the interview, about anything, absolutely 100% feel free to reach out to me, because just like those ladies were there for me, I want to be there for y'all. So oh my god. Are you for real? Like, Milan, get it together. I'm just so grateful. And that's just one person, you know? Just one person. And it really means the world to me. Oh my god. I can't stop crying. Okay, I'm such a fucking cancer. Like, this is ridiculous. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I have to get myself together and let's just get started before I start crying again. What video is this? I have so many videos in this thing. What am I filming? Okay, 10 reasons you should not become a flight attendant in 2022. Let's get into it. Number one, and this probably seems like one that doesn't need to be said, but it does. If you have a fear, and I mean a serious fear, of flying and or turbulence, please do us all a favor and don't come on the line. Everyone has fears, okay? There are fears that we can work around, and there are fears that we can get over, but there are also fears that maybe we can't. And while I understand that, what I don't understand is flight attendants going through the entire interview process, the entire training process, the OE, the operating experience, then their first flight on the line that has a little bit of turbulence, you're starting an emergency evacuation in flight. To some, this may seem obvious, and to some, this may seem stupid, but if you personally know that you have an intolerable fear of flying or turbulence, why waste your time? Because then you get people like the story I just told, where someone starts an emergency evacuation in flight due to mild turbulence. Really? I feel like that's a 1 in a million type of thing, but just like, you know you. And if you happen to come across this video and you're like, oh my God, but I'm so scared of flying, but I want to be a flight attendant, but I'm so scared of flying, don't risk my life. Don't risk my life. Don't risk my life. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't come onto my line and risk my life. That's crazy to me. But I felt like it needed to be said because it's something that has actually happened. It happened at my company, and the company put out a memorandum about it in regards to like emergency procedures and when to initiate and when not, and all of this in regards to that ordeal with that particular flight attendant. So yeah, that's how we're going to start the video out. I know it is a great career field. There are tons of benefits. It is a lot of glitz and glam. There's a lot of work too, but there's a lot of glitz and glam, and it's a very sought after career field. I know that. But don't jeopardize my safety or the passenger safety or your own safety for the sake of saying I'm a flight attendant when you don't like flying and you don't like turbulence, because it happens often. So yeah, I just want to start off with that. Okay, second, not mentally sound or prone to high anxiety or depression. Why do I say this? Because one, I feel like it's not talked about enough how mentally taxing and draining and lonely the aviation industry as a whole can be. I don't think people talk about it enough. They don't talk about the flight attendant suicide rate enough, because the job is very lonely and it can be depressing. And if you know you better than anyone, aren't mentally sound and equipped to handling A, the loneliness and a lot of alone time, and B, the high stress level of that job itself, I think it's going to be very difficult. And this is how we get into situations, as unfortunate as they are, where flight attendants are committing suicide on their layovers. I'm not saying the numbers are astronomical, but it is something that happens. Of course, there are things outside of the job that are contributing to these factors, but the fact that you can't be present in the moment with your family and your friends at home, with your pets, with your kids, whatever, just adds fuel to the fire. We all go through things on the job and outside of it, but being forced essentially to be in complete solidarity in those trying times is very, very difficult. If you do get to this point and you find yourself in a situation like this where you just need to take time off, take the time. Ask for a leave, whether it's paid or unpaid, depending on your airline. It shouldn't matter, because your mental health is first, and your mental health is important, and you can't do your job effectively and efficiently and safely if your mental isn't all the way there. And that goes for any career field, but I think it's kind of amplified with flight attendants or people in aviation in general because of how lonely the industry is or can be. So I wanted to mention that. Okay, on to number 3. You love to travel, but you don't love people. Faking the funk doesn't work. It might get you to the hiring event, it may get you hired, it may even get you through training, but on the line with other flight attendants, especially if you're new and flying with senior mamas and papas that's not having that with your attitude, it's not gonna work. Same thing with passengers. Passengers are so sensitive because passengers are very entitled people. Once they get onto your aircraft, it's like, for whatever duration of time I'm sitting on this aircraft, it's your job to serve me. So serve me. You know what I mean? This goes for everybody. There are going to be times when you want to choke a passenger or a fellow flight attendant, who knows, out. There are going to be times when people are so disrespectful or call you out of your name or this or that, and you didn't do anything to them. You never know what people are going through. You never know why they're traveling. It could be for a reason other than, you know, vacation or something. And at the end of the day, regardless of how they treat you, you have to treat them with courtesy and professionalism and great customer service and provide them with everything that they need in a safe and positive way. So that said, if that is not you, or you're not able and willing to do those things to be successful on the job and to not be renting up for reasons in regards to your attitude or poor customer service or lack of professionalism or respect or whatever, this is not the job for you. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, because you won't last, and you won't even like it because you always faking at work. Nobody wants to do that. Okay, number 4, which kind of bounces off of the last point. If you feed into drama or let the little things get to you, this is probably not the job for you. If you're keen on starting rumors or spreading rumors, or you have the mental capacity of a middle schooler, please, 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 please. Tomato, tomato, tomato.
Oh my God, corny, lame, boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. I'm throwing tomatoes.
Not for real, like, no. There are things that I know about people that I've never met that I simply shouldn't know. I'm based in Lauderdale, you're based in Vegas, and I know all of your business. I know what you look like. I know your financial situation. I know that you was cheating on your wife with a man. I know that this captain is cheating on his wife with you. I know everything, because that's how the aviation industry is. It was like that at my last airline, it's like that at this one, and it's like that at others, because there are forums and groups on Facebook and other places where people just like, that's the sole purpose of the group. Your reputation shattered, or you essentially shattering the reputation of someone else based on something, some he said, she said, or something that you heard. Just don't be a part. If you can't help but be a part, if you can't help but listen, if you can't help but dibble dabble on other people's business and leave your breadcrumbs everywhere, like, stay away from me. Because clearly the mental capacity is not there. You're not mature enough for this job yet. Maybe in a year or 2 or 3, we'll revisit it. But right now, today, if that's you, okay. Moving on. We are on what? Number 5. If you take your work home with you, this is not the job for you. There is so much that happens on planes in such a short amount of time. There are pregnancies, there are deaths, there are seizures, there are emergency evacuations, there is drama, there's passengers calling you out of your name, there's captains being disrespectful and speaking down on you. These things happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but they do happen, and you have to be a person that is able to, when you walk off the plane or you walk out the cabin at the end of that flight, you leave the drama and the baggage on the plane. You just can't be that person. And I hope I'm not coming across as rude or cold or insensitive, because that is not what I'm trying to get across here. But I'm saying that there are so many flights, there are so many people, there are so many opportunities for things to go wrong, right? And when they inevitably do, because it happens, not often, but things do happen, you can't harbor those feelings and walk off the plane with those feelings and take those feelings home with you and then pack them in your bag and bring them back the next day or the next trip or the next leg. You understand what I'm saying? So brush your shoulders off, right? And walk onto the new flight or into the new day with the mindset that maybe yesterday didn't go well. That flight was the worst flight I've had in my career thus far, but today I have the opportunity with 228 new passengers whose day I can influence in a positive way, right? It doesn't make up for anything that happened, but you have to just go in with a new mindset every time, every leg, every flight. It's just fresh. We're starting from scratch. It's not like an office where you gotta go back and forth and be with those same people and in that same environment and in that same space. It's not like that at all. It's completely different. So use that to your advantage and be the person that flips the switch. Be the person that changes the mood. Be the person that goes in with a positive mindset every time. And if all of your crew does that, regardless of what's going on at home or what happened on the last flight, you can't fail. You can't fail. So yeah. Okay, number 6, and this one is probably the #1 reason that most new flight attendants quit in the first year or so. And that is flexibility. The lack of flexibility is real. Something that you have to agree to prior to even getting your conditional job offer and going to training. So before any of that is that you are looking forward to even working weekends and holidays and mornings and nights and afternoons and overnight and all of that. In most cases, in order to even get yourself to an interview, you check the box and you DocuSign when you submit your application and resume. Yes, I'm willing to work whenever you need me. Take advantage of me. That is what you're telling these airlines. And then after answering yes to those questions, getting through your interviews, getting through training, and then getting on the line, the company upholds their end of the bargain. They're taking advantage of you, yes. And then you're like miserable. But you agreed to this before you even got there. Why did you waste your time? The first several years of your flight attendant career, you will not have much control over your schedule. Period. You will not. There's options to swap and drop and trade and this and that, sure. But be prepared to work those weekends that you agreed to, work those holidays that you agreed to. I'm just saying, be prepared to miss out on those special events, special holidays, those gatherings. You're gonna miss a lot of things. Baby showers, births, cookouts, parties, whatever. Just be prepared. You sign on the dotted line, you let them know that I'm okay if you do this to me, and then they're gonna do it to you. Don't be upset. Especially during the reserve period when you're on call. So not only are you working the weekend, but you're on call on the weekend, so you don't even know where you're going on the weekend. At least if I had a line on the weekend, I would know that on Friday night I'm going to New York, and on Saturday night I'll be in LA, and on Sunday night I'll be in Houston. Or for instance, being on call on your birthday. You're in the middle of celebrating your birthday at dinner or whatever, and then crew scheduling calls you and you have to report to the airport in 2 hours, right? Or Christmas. You having Christmas breakfast for your family and then the same ordeal. Or New Year's or New Year's Eve, the ball about to drop, you're lit. But crew scheduling is calling you like, hey Milan, just letting you know you have a pairing that starts at 7 a.m. So I just say that to say, if you're still interested, be prepared, because reserve life, or that period where you don't have the most flexibility over your schedule, can last from 1 year to 20 years, depending on your airline, depending on your base. So when you're doing your research or going through the hiring process for any airline, I encourage you to reach out to flight attendants at their airline. More often than not, they are willing to talk to you. If it's my airline, definitely reach out to me. Feel free, don't feel like you're bothering me, you're not. I love to help, and we can talk about it. You can tell me what your concerns are, I can tell you what my experience was. You understand what I'm saying? And you know you better than anyone. If it sounds good, it does, and if it doesn't, be honest with yourself. No matter how much you may want the job, you don't want to get here and be miserable because you didn't know or do your due diligence to figure out what you were signing up for, or what checking that box, yes, I'm willing to work weekends and holidays and this and that, really meant. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, something to consider for sure. Okay, number 7, which is probably the second reason that a lot of flight attendants quit within, I guess, that probationary period, when you're filling the job out and the job is filling you out and the company is filling you out as well. Relocation. Let me start with this. There is always the option to commute. There's always the option to commute. No one can tell you that you can't commute. Now, when you're doing your resume, submitting your application and everything, and the application asks you, are you willing to relocate for this job? The answer is always yes. But you know, after you finish your process and it's time to get on the line and you're based in Boston, but you live in Atlanta, you do have the option to commute. Maybe get a crash pad in Boston or something like that, but not pick up and move your whole life to Boston. Is that what the airline expects you to do? Yes. But they don't pay your relocation fees. They don't pay your new rent. They don't subsidize your income to meet the new housing costs of the big major city that they moved you to or assigned you to, right? So it's inevitable that some flight attendants or aviators in general will choose the commute route. I or no one can tell you not to commute. So I want to just put that out there. I'm not telling you not to commute. I'm telling you that I wouldn't. I'm telling you that I never have, and I never would. Even when I was at my first airline and they based me in Phoenix, Arizona, and I didn't want to be there, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona for that period, and then I moved to Houston, Texas, which is where I wanted to be. You understand what I'm saying? It is very possible, especially if you're going major city to major city, it makes it easier because you have a lot more flight options. But there are people that commute in and out of the country, southwest, east, what's this called? East Coast to West Coast and all of that. So it's very possible. I don't want to speak on it too much because I have never done it long term and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but there are tons of successful commuters within the industry, and You just kind of got to pick your battles. Commuting is a perk of the job because you get the free flight. So why not use them to get you to and from work when you don't want to move to your base? But it's also a second job that you don't get paid for, which I personally am not willing to do. But, you know, to each their own. Do what works for you. But I just wanted to mention that in regards to relocation. The company expects you to relocate, and I think you should, even if it's temporary, especially while on reserve. But I'm just saying. So that's my 2 cents on that, and we're gonna keep it moving. Number 8, you're money hungry. Simply put, this is not the job for you if you're money hungry, or if you're transitioning into this career field from another career field that makes a lot more money and your lifestyle has adapted to making that amount of money. Am I making sense? If you make $60,000 a year and you live a minimalist lifestyle where you spend less than half of that, you really want to be a flight attendant, then by all means. But if you make that same 60K and you utilize every ounce of that 60K salary, then coming into this job as a newbie, it's not gonna make sense unless you find a way to subsidize your income and add to it in another way. So many flight attendants have so many side hustles that you wouldn't believe. Substitute teaching, real estate, investing, and brows and lashes and hair and Uber Eats, Instacart, you know, just things like that you can do on your time off, or other like wholesale endeavors or a small business that you can run while you're on your layovers and make passive income that way. There are tons of options as far as that is, but if you are a one-track mind, one source of income, one paycheck to feed this household type of girl, and you was living like that, this is not the job for you. I think y'all are seeing the $20 and $30+ an hour wages that flight attendants are being paid, and doing the math like this is a regular job where we're being paid 40 hours a week. That's physically impossible for a flight attendant. And per federal aviation regulations, even if it was possible, honey, we wouldn't be able to do it. The math ain't mathing, okay? You need to go on Glassdoor.com or another resource, find out what the hourly wage is starting for the flight attendant position at the airline that you're applying to, or talk to flight attendants at that airline to get the pay scale, learn their minimum guaranteed hours and the maximum amount of hours they can work per month. You get 2 checks a month, and then you'll know what your pay would look like from doing that research and doing that math. But don't go on these websites and see $35 an hour and times it by 40 hours a week, because baby, you're gonna be real disappointed, okay? So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that in regards to pay. However, if you want a dedicated video on flight attendant pay, I can definitely do that. I'm not sure if you guys are interested, but let me know. Next, okay, moving on, we're in the home stretch. Number 9, if timeliness, punctuality, darling, is an issue for you, this is not the job for you. I told y'all the top 2 reasons that new flight attendants quit, number 6 and 7, I think. Yes, flexibility or lack thereof, and relocating. Top 2 reasons that flight attendants quit. The number 1 reason that flight attendants are fired is in regards to punctuality. Simply put, you can't be late. And to be on time is to be late, okay? I say this because this is not a regular job, right? You can't just pull up to the building and then walk into your office and everybody knows that you're there. Not only do you have to check in or be to the plane, however your airline works, on time, but there are so many things that you have to do even before then, before you can even get to work and get in the building. You know what I'm saying? Driving to the employee parking lot, which in most cases is off-site from the airport. So then you have to take a shuttle from there to the airport. In a lot of cases, you have to go through security before you can even check in. So there's a lot of things that need to get done before you can even say, hi, I'm here for work. And those things take time. And not to mention, your company is being charged for every minute that their plane is parked at a gate. So you or one of your coworkers being late, even a couple minutes, can cause a snowball effect, which costs your company thousands of dollars. And they're not having that. So you get in the boot before you even get your feet wet, because you can't be on time. If timeliness is a real issue for you outside of work, I'm gonna be late. But when it comes to my job, I'm never late. I've never been late. I've been a flight attendant for 4 years, 2 airlines. I've never been late. And I rarely call out sick. Dependability and reliability are big deals in this industry, because 1-2 minutes can cost thousands of dollars. So you being a couple minutes late, a crew member being a couple minutes late, means that boarding is late, which means you push back from the gate late. you get into your arrival destination late, and then that flight is late, and everything else from that point forward is late. You understand what I'm saying? So being late is just not an option. If that is an issue for you, this is not the job for you. And I think that was number 9, right? And last but certainly not least, number 10, if you're a germaphobe, and I mean a serious germaphobe, there's so much nasty. People are nasty. Okay, it's one thing to just wear your gloves and wear your mask now and have some disinfectant wipes and things like that. That's something we pretty much all do across the board. But if you're a serious germaphobe, this is not the job, baby. Passengers, disgusting. Lavatories, disgusting. Some hotels, disgusting. You just gotta make it do what it do and make it home for the hours that you're there. Like me, I wear my gloves, I wear my mask, I have my disinfectant wipes, I have my shower shoes and slippers. I'm never barefoot on this nasty ass floor. I check the bed and pillows for bed bugs and stains and things like that. I feel like most flight attendants do all of those things. If you see yourself going above and beyond that, or even thinking about the fact that the air on the plane is so recycled, or how many butts have been in the plane seat, or how many naked bodies have been in your bed, things like that, giving you the heebie-jeebies, like, don't even bother. Because it's a part of the job. It's something that you have to do, and sometimes you be like, but what you gonna do, not sleep? What you gonna do, not work? You know what I'm saying? So if that's you, no judgment, but don't bother, because it's gonna turn into a real headache for you being that anal and crazy about all that this job encompasses. Okay? So that's all, y'all. My 10 reasons that you should probably not be a flight attendant in 2022. If you found this video interesting or helpful in any way, if it provided you with some insight, or if you found it entertaining, like, comment, share, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications regarding future uploads. That's all for today's video. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.